Angela Davis speaks, dot, 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 past, question mark, dot, 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 present, question mark. This is the title of the piece that you're going to see, and I want to tell you a little bit about its conception. Basically, what happened is that in the last few years, I've been looking at things that have been going on in the world, and especially in the United States. And I had a deja vu moment, because I started looking at this picture, and then I reflected back to the 60s and the 70s. And I was not a huge civil rights movement activist, but I was on the outskirts of it. And there was a point of recognition for African Americans to recognize their heritage from Africa. And so we started to take elements of the African culture, like how you would dress, your hair. And so there was this look of the natural, which was the huge, what you guys know, as the Afro. And there was a sense of consciousness, even in the community. We spoke to each other like brothers and sisters, my brother, my sister, because even though we weren't of blood, we still were of a movement, of a moment. And in that, there was resistance. And within the resistance was some of that scenario I'm talking about, that I'm seeing the same thing that was going on there, and I see it over here. So I wanted to give it voice. The best way I can give voice is to do it through dance, choreography, movement. So that was the birthing of this piece. Now, in order to do that, I needed to do some research. Even though experientially I had known a lot of things that went on in the 60s and the 70s, I wanted to go a little deeper. And I wanted an icon. And the icon that I chose was Angela Davis. When we were both younger, people said that I looked like her. I don't have the gap anymore, but I did have a gap in between my teeth. And so I was really interested in her. She's fabulous. She's an academic. At 25 years old, she was a lecturer at UCLA. She has written books. A lot of her writings are stored at Harvard. Much that she had done. She had an iconic look, what I was just talking about, because she had the huge afro. But she loved communities. She loved oppressed communities. And that's what struck me about her. So I wanted to kind of give her homage, if you will. So another thing that happened with her was that she was actually on the most wanted list. She was accused of a crime that happened in California, and she was not a part of it, but she went underground because she did not want to be caught. She felt she would be used as an example because of her iconic look and her speeches and that. She was captured, and she was incarcerated. Much of that time, she was in solitary confinement, which is hard to even conceive of. While she was there, though, pockets in the United States and internationally were rooting for her, supporting Free Angela Davis, Free Angela Davis. And eventually, she was also with the Black Panther movement, which was another reason why she felt she would be used as an example. So she was acquitted, but even in that state, there were artists like Bob Dylan and John Lennon of the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones that would write songs about her. Aretha Franklin wanted to pay her bail. So this was something that was really huge and very big. So I wanted to show the power of the 70s and the late 60s and wanted to bring that forth so that we can look at things today in a different way. So how I decided to do that was that I did not use music. I didn't want music. I mentioned that she was in isolation when she was incarcerated. And so I didn't want a melodic kind of music. Angela speaks in the beginning of this work. In the middle is basically those who went out on the street and asked people if they thought that she would have a fair trial. And then at the end, she speaks as she is today. She's still very active today. So without further ado, I would like for you to take in whatever you want to take in from this piece. And thank you very much.
It's all about the movement, my brothers. It's all about the movement, my sisters. When you talk about the movement, you are talking about a movement that spreads far and wide. A movement that will dive deep into your soul and deep into your mind.
There's nothing, absolutely nothing, which could deter me from continuing to fight with all my energies for the freedom of my people. And there's no need for me to cry because I've been captured. But there's all the more reason to be strong and keep fighting. During the time I was participating in the efforts to free the Soledad brothers, I continually warned that any one of us could be set up as the next target of the government's policy of repression, of the repression of black revolutionaries. I'm in prison, but like Malcolm said, all black people, excepting a few who have betrayed us, are in prison. And like Huey said, there are maximum security jails and minimum security jails. The latter constitute the condition of the majority of black people, but many among us are locked up in the dungeons across the country. 95% of us here in the Women's House of Detention are black and Puerto Rican. I am with my people, and we are going to continue to fight inside the dungeon.
Do you think Angela Davis will get a fair trial?
Not right. Like Edward Kennedy, he takes a girl in the car and she dies and whatnot, and he's set free. But Angela Davis didn't even do anything, and she's going to jail for it. I don't think it's right.
Do you think that Angela Davis will get a fair trial?
No, I don't think she'll get a fair trial because of the idea that the first she has two things against her because she was, they say she's a communist, so I really don't think she'll get a fair trial.
Thank you. Do you think that Angela Davis will get a fair trial?
I think so, yes.
You think so?
Yes. Because I think that the people will see that she gets a fair trial.
Do you think that Angela Davis will get a fair trial?
No.
Why?
I don't know, really. I just don't think they should get a fair trial.
Do you think that Angela Davis will get a fair trial?
I hope she do. I hope she gets a fair trial.
You think Angela Davis will get a fair trial?
Yes, I should, and I don't believe she can get a fair trial in the United States.
You want to tell us why?
Because I don't believe the United States is fair to black people. You could see this in our past history. Through the beginning of time, the United States has not been fair to black people. So I don't believe she can get a fair trial here, and especially not in California.
Woo!
I'll tell you what, baby, you gotta let me go. Let me go! You can't hold me. You can't hold me. You can't hold me. Baby, you can't hold me. You can't hold me down, so help me. You can't hold me. No, no. So let me go. Let me go. So let me go. Oh, let me go. Let me go. Let me go. What you think you're doing trying to hold me? Baby, there ain't a man alive that can hold this one. You can't hold me down, so let me go! 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 Let me go, 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 let me go.
And Dr. King, when he went to the top of the mountain, he never told us, what he actually saw. And I would say what he saw was an infinite progression of struggles for freedom. We will never actually reach the point where we can rest.